What is going on, everyone? My name is Boit, and I am back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning on the left side of the map in the blue color, playing as set is from the DoD clan. His name is Joe. On the other side of the map in the red color, playing as Zeus. His name is Player. The map is Frozen Wastes, and it is currently 1-1 in this best of 5 group stages to see who goes on and fights each other in the finals. Very, very exciting stuff here. Both players have shown an exceptional knowledge in this matchup and come up with interesting things in their own right. So we'll see what they come up with in this game, whether anything changes. This map is a very, very aggressive map. You cannot wall out your opponents very easily at all. You kind of have to like wall all the way around your back of your base if you don't want them running in. This gold mine here is incredibly exposed. You can just walk around this ice here and then walk in, and it's going to be able to be attacked. This gold mine, on the other hand, one wall here and watchtowers and some houses should be enough to defend it. And then we also have the big issue in this map for Egyptian players is the gold mine situation. You can see one large gold mine here, one large gold mine here, and then that's it for Joe. Joe's going to struggle for gold in this game if player can capitalize on that. We'll see what he does choose to do. None of these second town centers will really help him out either. This town center is sort of close, so you can kind of merc at it. But if you don't have any gold, then you can't make any merc. So that's a big problem there. So I'm hoping that player goes down the center Hippocon Goldstaff style or Athena Goldstaff style. We can see these houses already coming down for Joe wanting to protect this gold line nice and early. So he's going to be okay here. These sanctuary towers still don't defend against this, and these houses are mostly just a delay tactic. If hoplite come in onto these houses, they can get picked off very, very fast. So we'll see what does happen here. We've got this scout running around here. If we check out player's perspective, we have some decent scouting so far. This gold mine being here. This gold mine being here, not being spotted just yet, but he does see that one gold mine that is relatively close to his enemy's base and far away from his second town center. So he's got to be happy about seeing that one. Sees the other town, sees the other town center. I can't talk. Sees the other town center here. Generally speaking, when you see when you see a town center, you should just check around the town center and see what resources are there to see which town center your opponent is more likely to want to get if they're going to go for a fast second town center. So then you can put the pressure on with your early heroes and center. Joe, on the other hand, he's got the villagers pumping out. No wood income here. He's getting that temple up. It's just about up. I wonder if he builds another villager here. Yeah, he builds one more villager. I don't think you need to do this with 2 villagers. I'm still confused about this, this double villager building the temple business. Like, it wouldn't be up by the time this village is out, but he's still... Is he going to be advancing? I guess that's the question. Does look like he wants to advance, but he's a little bit short on the food. And also, I feel like this temple being up at 3:30 with the extra villager would probably be better. But Joe going for just trying to get for that 3:20 advance time, but not quite nailing it on the head. And we've got player over here, not yet advanced, which is actually... it's not great if you're a Zeus player against set and not advancing 3:30 for that 4:30 classical age, because if the set player gets up at 4:20 or 4:30 when they're aiming for, with what they're aiming for, they can just deal so much damage to you and you can't really defend against it. We do see the bolt on the priest, but a walrus has been grabbed there. Jumping over to Joe's perspective, he's not producing any of those extra priests, and he still has 11 villagers on food. So I'm very confused at what the plan is here for Joe. Joe's going to move forward with his priest. Villagers still doing this. Maybe he's going one town center fast heroic, chucking up that monument later. But if he's doing this one town center fast heroic, with this many villagers. I'm not sure if he's just going to be doing it really, really fast or what the plan is here. We don't see anything else. We do see a barracks coming down, so maybe he's thinking about doing spearmen. We are seeing a vision getting cast here, which is going to allow player or Joe to decide where he wants to attack. Villagers are going to be moving back into their town center. Priest and Pharaoh moving in with the polar bear and 2 walrus. He can move over onto this wood line and cause some havoc there. These villagers are going to be chilling here, and we know that this is happening. We do see that the shift does go down onto the goat there, so that's going to be huge for Joe. But players got to be happy that the shift did not go onto his villagers just yet. These villagers are on the berry bushes right now. Need to get back into that town center. They're not going to have anything to gather at this point for food. If we check out players' perspective, he's going through Hermes, but he's going to have to pretty much get sentry towers up straight away if he wants to keep gathering resources here. We do see that they're going to be targeting down this temple. Are we going to see early sentry towers? No, not yet. We are going to see the Jason popping out and the Odysseus. We also see a spearman moving forward here. Going to be putting some more pressure on. This is actually, I like this from Joe. He's going to be putting so much pressure on, and he's actually not going to be the one with the issues of the map right here if we can keep this pressure happening. And it's going to be player who's going to be struggling, because once this goat is expired, there's really no other food that he can grab apart from this berry bush. But with the Odysseus popping out and the centaur, this is actually going to be a difficult fight for Joe to keep going here, especially with the town center fight. We're seeing a stable coming up. Very late stable there. I'm not sure why he took so long with that one. We are seeing Jason run in yet again, and the Odysseus is trying to pick off units here. We do see watchtowers has come through, which is going to be a big one. However, we got the spearman trying to take this down. He's also got the help of this walrus, and this watchtower does look like it will be falling. We do see that the centaur are going to be picking off barracks units as they're popping out, which is very, very smart. We see the Jason sitting at 51 HP, trying to pick off that Pharaoh, and the Pharaoh does go down, which is huge. That's a gigantic amount of DPS that is lost there for Joe, but Joe does get the sentry tower, and now he can start putting pressure onto these berry bushes. We do see the Odysseus under a little bit of attack there, and he's going to be moving back and forth at this point, and it does look like this attack has been stopped now, and player is going to be sitting in a fairly decent situation. He's got the one stable up, and it does look like not panicking too hard, going for a second town center here. This is interesting because if Joe does sniff this out, he can then just move back over onto this berry bush, and 2 town centers is useless if you have no food income. So we'll see if this happens or not. We don't see a second town center. We do see an armory coming up. Maybe the second town center is coming down now. Yeah, here's the second town center at the 7-minute mark. So, super interesting play here. There's still access to ceasefire, but you want to be forcing that one so you can use ancestors. We do see that Spearman is trying to delay this settlement as much as he possibly can. The Spearmen are onto this Hippocon. The Odysseus trying to chase down the Wadget, but Joe is good enough to pull that guy back until the Odysseus is dealt with. This town center is going to be stopped for the moment. Villagers getting pulled off it to take out those Spearmen, and I assume more Spearmen are going to be producing. There are the Spearmen here, but they're just not enough resources at this point. And the town center is going to be coming up. There's some walrus already over here, which Joe can start eating as well. And this Odysseus is actually just doing so much work. Toxite out as well. Going to be dealing some of that beautiful damage over here. There's still this Hippocon here with next to no HP. These villagers are going to be falling as well. We do see 2 more villagers do fall there. 2 HP on this Hippocon, just killing, man. Looking like he's trying to kill the villagers instead. We do see Odysseus has come over here, and he's going to pick off that Wadget. Finally, we do see the Catastrophic Scout chilling here, and the town center is up for Joe. He's got some idle villagers in the middle of the map. Need to move over onto these wars as soon as he possibly can. But the second town center for player is now up as well. So he's going to be very, very happy about that one. Now we have to see where does player go from here. He's got some idle villagers and needs to get them back to work as soon as possible. But we do see that player is making a little move out of his base. See all of these villagers running back over onto these walrus and other things, doing all of that good stuff. Gonna probably start eating them set walrus, and you can actually don't even have to build a granary. You can lure these walrus into next to the town center. These guys moving over maybe to the caribou here. Checking out Joe's population, we're sitting at 47 to 49 population. And we're going to have just a little bit of a down moment here as both players' economy is trying to settle. Don't want to overwork your economy when you've gone 2 town centers. Generally speaking, it's very hard to get 2 town centers up and also spam military units because, I mean, you can do it if you've got, if you do it well enough. I think you can go like maybe 8 villages on food, and then put a bunch of villages on wood, and you can start building out slingers instead of just spearmen. And you can kind of get Egyptian. It does slow down your heroic age, but it kind of works. If you just make a bunch of slingers, you can boom really hard and still have an army, which is sort of effective. That's also something you can do with Greek. You can make like 3 archery ranges and put 8 villages on food, spam villages to wood and gold, and just make nothing but toxites. Do you see the obelisk coming up now for Joe, trying to move around? Let's just check out what we're seeing here. We do have the scout now on this gold mine. Does have the issue of having to come around here, but he can simply just navigate around this area here and then come and hit this. I don't think this gold mine is going to be a gold mine which Joe's going to want to grab at any time. If we check out Joe's perspective, he's almost in the heroic age at this point. It looks like he's going to be moving over onto these caribou. In the rest of them, he still has all of these goats which are almost fully fattened. 240 food right there. It's going to be really, really good for him to eat them when he needs to, but has all of this food to gather from for the time being. Maybe want to consider grabbing that Shadoof and starting all that other good stuff, but both players just making villages at this point, taking it nice and slow. Village is moving over to this gold mine, chilling out here. If we check out player, he does have both of these buildings building those military units, but he's definitely not prioritizing them at all, it looks like. We do see some more villagers just jumping back into that town center away from this little raid here. And we do see that all the players' units going to be chilling on this gold mine. We do have 900 gold left in this gold mine though, so it does look like Joe is probably going to get to the heroic age before he wants to grab this gold mine. We have this barracks over here as well. We see some spearmen running around looking for a little bit of a raid, trying to check out what's going on around the map, making sure there's no town center getting built at this point. The Toxite right here going to force these spearmen back, and that's going to feel very, very good. Now the slingers are out, so we do see that the slingers have started to do their thing, but it's mostly slinger, spearman army. I do think that Joe needs to, if he's going to stay in the classical age, he needs to chuck down another military building. He's got a very large economy, and his army is really not going to be able to defeat player's army if he keeps producing. But at this point, he's sitting in a decent position. And if he doesn't want to spend that extra 75 gold on the barracks, he wants to get to the heroic age. It's completely understandable, but that does mean that you're going to be struggling to grab this gold mine. So let's see what happens here. Hippocon are trying to fight here. The Toxites are... Toxites? Yeah, I've got no idea. They are sitting in the back and dealing a little bit of damage there, but the slingers finally get onto them, and players just chilling up here with the rest of his army, taking this nice and slow. I wonder if players thinking about a heroic age relatively soon. We do see that next stable has been thrown up, so he's going to be producing those units very, very fast off 3 military buildings there. Probably time to build up a... He's not actually queuing anything from there, but it's probably time to build up a 4th as well once you have this many units. Villages on resources. But he hasn't done that one just yet. And these slingers, looks like, yes, so many slingers. You can see how Joe's playing this game. Has he grabbed upgrades? Yeah, he does have his pickaxe. He doesn't have hand axe, and he's going through Nephthys. So hopefully he does pick up on the rest of those upgrades. But here's where the fight's going to start happening. We do see player inching in and out. We see the walls coming up around here. I like that the walls are coming up on this side. Force the fight through here so that at least you can have a short way that mercenary have to run. We do see that Joe's got 600 gold in the bank. He's got 36 villages on this one gold mine here. And he's just going to be running in with just these Hippocon, which is all he needs to do. Try and pick off all the slingers and keep these Toxite in the back of the army there. These mercenary are going to be coming out in order to deal with the Hippocon as well. But Nephthys is coming through. Joe's still not having that much food in the bank. And it could be time for player to be grabbing this town center as well. But it does look like the slingers are jumping onto these Toxiters right now. Going to be forcing the slingers back in the end, but these slingers do so much damage. You can see them just completely destroy the Toxiters right over here. We do see Nephthys has come through. So I'm assuming Joe will just chuck up this Migdol stronghold and this gold mine will at least be secured. Here we go. Grabbing 11, 12 villages to build, 13, 14 villages to build this Migdol stronghold. So it's going to get up very, very fast as players are moving in right now. I would have liked to see him just chilling on this gold mine and at least forcing an Ancestors here, but it doesn't look like he's going to get away with that. And we do see the third settlement for Joe coming up fairly soon here. And player doing this nice and slow, but he should realize this gold mine is now no longer an option. And generally speaking, players fairly happy to just take it slow against Egyptian as Zeus, because once he gets to that late game, he's got a very strong late game, and so does Zeus, so it works well for him. Does not go for any of those early kills that are a little bit risky, or generally doesn't. You see this polar bear getting a little bit antsy, just like not happy with living and wants to go after the villager with the town center to fire on him. Anyways, we do see war elephants pumping out right now. We do see that the heavy hippocon medium hippocon have caught this settlement, which is going to be nice for a player to delay that one. But the scorpion men, the spearmen are after these guys, so he does have to run around. Maybe try and sacrifice for the villagers, or send the rest of his army over here just to delay this settlement, because it's not a very easily defensible position, especially if you can get out that Heracles in order to tank damage from everything and pick off the Scorpion Man. But Odysseus is in here, so at the very least that Scorpion Man's going to feel some pain and actually does die very, very fast. So that's a good one. We do see the third town centers up for player as well, sitting at 143 of 145 population. Joe, on the other hand, sitting at 127 of 130 population, trying to get this settlement up. However, we do see that player is pushing Joe back at this point, and the town center looks like it has been snuck up with these villagers, and an Ancestors does decide to come down. And I think that a ceasefire should just go down, just because you don't really want to take the extra damage here. And it's going to be another, if you're not going to fight it, you may as well, basically. You're not saving ceasefire for anything else, I don't think. But Joe is going to be starting to move in here. He does have War Elephant, which can start taking down this town center, and we're going to see the Ancestors look like they're going to take some damage. We do have a 51 HP Odysseus here to pick off all of these Ancestors, but it does look like Joe being a little bit indecisive here. Should have just kept the Ancestors onto these units, pick off a couple of the Toxiters. Oh, I love this right here with these Hippocon. The fight happening over here, Hippocon running around the back, cleaning up reinforcements, while these units just jump in and out of the town center, and that forces Joe to come back and deal with this. And I love how this player is just doing so much good things right here. We are going to see player retreating out as the main army of Joe returns here, and the Ancestors does get cleaned up. No ceasefire at all. That's got to feel good. We do see a market has come up for Joe, but he's not that close to the Mythic Age, as opposed to player who's now hitting the Heroic Age through Apollo. He's got a couple of options right now. He can slap down a market, go through Hera, go through a Lightning Storm strong play, or he can grab his fortified town centers and then try and get all these upgrades and maybe go for a later Apollo timing attack. So we'll see which one he does decide to do, but I'm not sure what the best option is. Hopefully player will come up with something good. Also has the option of just going straight to the Heroic Age and grabbing Hephaestus and then yeah, making progress in that regard, because you can then grab all those cheap armory upgrades, which he only has Pierce armor at this point. Also, Joe's got no armor either, so he's going to try and fight here. Do you see that this is actually a brutally good fight for player at this point? Manticore is going to be taking a little bit of damage. Should always try and drag that Manticore back as soon as the priest are attacking it, so then your Toxite can kill, or Toxiters can kill off the priest, which does happen very, very fast there. So nice play there from play a nice army control. Now he's going to retreat or move around, maybe checking out this gold mine over here, which is just about to get gathered, or he can start trying to tear down this town center. But Joe going through Horus, a very, very fast Horus here. Fortified town centers coming up as well. And looks like player getting close to throwing the Mythic Age himself. Could just sell some of those resources. The Manticore are going to be taking a lot of damage here. These Toxicate need to get onto this priest here. And we do see that the tornado is going to come down. Going to be picking off a bunch of buildings right here. We do see that the walls are coming up. The Petropoli does get picked off straight away. Fortress is going to go down. But the big thing right here is potentially this town center is not going to get picked off. This tornado did do a lot of damage, and unfortunately, player not being very smart with his villages there, running them into that tornado, going to be losing a bunch of them, so he needs to start building those villages back up again. Do we see some of those rhinoceros of set coming through? And here we go, Hephaestus is coming through. Going to be able to use that guy, get that plenty vault down somewhere. Armories are pumping up right now. We do see 47 favor, so he's going to be able to get that Forge of Olympus. And get those very, very strong units, and then he's just going to play nice and slow with that, and then get the Colossi to come out. Do have a catapult out already to pick off these wooden walls. I like the proactiveness. Don't want to have these wooden walls up so you can't murk down those catapult. Fortress is coming up again now for player, so he needs to get this one up in order to get the Heliopoli or the Petropoli. We'll see what he does do there. But the question right now is, where is Joe going with this? He's used his tornado. He's used all of his gold powers. His armory upgrades are starting to come through. He does have hack armor. This heavy hippocon from player are going to be moving through onto this catapult, I assume. Oh no, they're going to go for this raid. There's 4 villages over there, so it's worthwhile to pick them ones off. Manticore again under siege from the priest. Is there funeral rites? No funeral rites just yet. And we do see that the big issue here is Mythic Age priest have 24 favor to 15 favor of the Toxicus. So you have to be very, very careful with those Manticore. Military Academy coming up, and the catapult is going to be doing a little bit over here. We do see that these villagers are going to all die to these heavy hippocon, it looks like. Does look like the villagers turn around and wanted to fight, but these heavy hippocons are not upgraded hippocons. See another little raid coming on over onto this gold mine here as well. These chariot archers are going to be fallen victim. We just see that the Hephaestus has come through. Plenty Vault does come down straight away, so not going to be forgetting about that one. And we are probably going to be checking out the armories, and we do see Forge of Olympus 300 gold, 35 favor coming down instantly in order to help him out. And we are going to be seeing that the walls are up now for Joe. So what player needs to do is get out a Bellerophon in order to deal with this. But instead of that, he's going to be casting Ceasefire. Does manage to kill off a couple of villages here in the process, and he should be okay. But during this ceasefire, this is the dangerous part. You can just keep on building a bunch of walls up over here, upgrading these walls, and then more catapult, get your catapult upgrades. Then this town center is going to be really difficult to keep alive. Bellerophon is an option though, so walls only do so much. But you can just pump out those, maybe build 2 walls, so you get these walls here, get another wall in here, like in here, and then gate. Then if the Bellerophon jumps over, you can walk back, and then at least save some of your catapult to keep firing. It's always an option, but we'll see what happens here. Joe is chilling, and so is a player. What's the upgrade situation looking like at this point? We do see still only bronze armor. The Forge of Olympus has come through, so that's unfortunate the player's not keeping on top of that. Part of getting through Hephaestus is getting those armory upgrades up really, really fast. We're going to see this Colossus coming through as well. Should be able to move forward and then pick off this gate here. Unfortunately, Joe clicking a little bit early, moving his catapult forward, so he's going to be losing just a little bit of damage here. But the Colossus is going to tear down this this gate very, very fast. And we do see a bunch of these champion hippocon coming in over here, going to be picking off some of these villages, but the villagers are going to be fighting back with the assistance of a Scorpion Man. Now the Colossus is on to those catapult, and it does look like the fortified town center is going to be falling very, very shortly. Bellerophon is out though, so he's going to be able to jump in over onto something else. We do see that these heroes are going to be needing to chase these Avengers around, which are pushing off gold mines at this point. So will player be able to get this town center back up? Because if you can't get the town center back up, it's going to be a very, very difficult game for him to fight here. 140 population to 160 population currently. And also players sitting a little bit below because he just doesn't have the production buildings up just yet to compete. We do see the Scorpion Man finally picking off that raid, villagers picking off that scout over here, and now the Chariot Archers are going to be jumping onto those villages. We do see a gold Colossus, not a gold Colossus, coming back in here, going to be trying to pick off some of these Chariot Archers, and we do see some Peltas coming in from those Avenger raids who are running around the back of the base at this point. We see the Catapult running in here, going to be stopping this settlement in its tracks with that brutal catapult fire right there. I'm not sure exactly what the multiplication is attacking a foundation building, but when siege weapons attack a foundation building, they do so much damage. It might even be doubled on to a settlement. Not sure at all. But we do see that this catapult is going to be falling very, very soon. That Colossus does so much damage to it with the 50 crush damage. And now we can start getting that town center back up. And it looks like for some reason, player is able to defend here. Maybe because the armory upgrades. We do see that bronze upgrades are incoming and still no more other upgrades, and we do have the Bellerophon chasing down this last Avenger. Now you can get that Bellerophon back into the army for player, so he's going to feel good about that one because Bellerophon's such a strong unit. Look at him come in, 585 HP remaining out of 620, doing 28 damage and attack. Going to run in over here, pick off this Scorpion Man. Look at that one, jumping right onto him, picking that guy off. And Colossus, I love this use of the Colossus, eating these trees, keeping the Colossus alive for as long as possible. Always very, very smart to do that one. But another catapult coming in, going to launch that one down and stop this town center yet again. Get those Prodromus over here, Hippocon over here, going to be able to pick off this catapult, but not before he launches that final shot there, taking the town center back down to 400 HP, and it's going to be able to get another Colossus out, not Colossus out, catapult out very, very soon. Here we go, Joe coming in yet again, going to be stopping this one, but the priest getting pulled back, Colossus running in over here, can start eating these snowy pines, so delicious. However, Catapult again going to be delaying this town center even further than before, now down to 200 HP, and more of those Catapult are coming out. And Bellerophon in onto the gold mine now. Look at this damage. 3 hitting villagers, and then what is the damage onto a moving villager can always dodge Bellerophon's attack there. But does look like the Colossus is about to go down, seeing at 100 HP. Another catapult coming in, going to be taking down this town center as best as he possibly can. And it's just like, how does player recover from this? At this point, his army is really, really strong. You can check out bronze upgrades. But all of Joe's army is just so strong because there's so many units here. But is it going to be enough or what? We do see that the Bellerophon picking off so many villagers right now, and you can't do this. You can't defend your gold mine with your villagers because the Bellerophon can just run away, come back in when the special abilities back up. And I believe the recharge rate is 15 seconds. So you run in, attack for a little bit until he responds, and then by the time you've chilled out there, it's going to be really good. If we check out Joe's gold economy, he's also only sitting on 27 gold there with 20 villagers on gold. And the Colossus is onto that fortified town center. Heliopoli as well was picked off though. Town center is trying to get back up yet again. Odysseus is going to be taking some damage. Now the Colossus coming out. Bellerophon still taking down these villages. You can see that jump attack one hits villages there. More villages falling down for Joe. Joe needs to send something over there to deal with that because you cannot keep that one up. We do see that the catapult again stopping this town center from going up. And this is the story right now, is if player gets this town center up, he wins essentially, because check out the economy difference. The improvement difference is super far in favor of player right now. And we do see funeral rites is up as well. Town center is getting up very, very fast. And if we check out this, no catapults coming in just yet. We do see that the Cursory Cavalry are going to be jumping in onto this settlement and running through the settlement as well. We do see that the villagers are going to be getting picked off as well. There's some low HP guys here. I feel like it'd be worth it just for player to run in now and just get this town center up with like another 10 villagers or so. But he doesn't know that the catapults aren't coming out at this point. Check out this. Looks like Joe going to be moving on over here. We do see that the champion Prodromus and Hippocon are going to be onto this one here, and that this is looking like the town center is just about to get back up. Still catapult not coming up. Looks like Joe does not have any resources in the bank at all, and it looks like this town center, but the Chariot Archers are going to be jumping in onto this one. That's going to be great. We do see an underworld passage getting put up somewhere, and Joe decides to tap out when that happens, potentially using that. I don't know where the other side of the, passage. Oh, the passage here. So he's going to be jumping onto the gold villages here. So last ditch effort right there. Not fighting the Egyptian player on the front is always the way to go. Player played this really, really nicely. I feel like Joe had it so close. He just needed to figure out a way to keep his catapult alive so he could take down this settlement and for good, but he just could not get the upgrades out because he had to spend so many units, so many resources on units to keep the pressure up. But super well played there. I loved the early game aggression from Joe. I feel like he could have kept it up because could have got a food starve because he stole all the goat and he could have just chilled onto the berry bushes here, and it would have been really difficult for a 2-town center Zeus player to produce any villages with no food. But deciding to do something else there, not exactly reading the map how I was reading. It's much easier to read a map when you can see the whole map. Yeah, Joe not doing that one, opting for a different strategy, and unfortunately did not work out for him. So it's now currently 2-1 for player in this best of 5 series. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did enjoy it, please rate, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to see my videos as soon as they come out. My name is Boit, and I will see you guys next time.